Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Hello everyone, my name is Andy, I'm the Managing Consultant for Cyberventure. Today we're doing another deep dive into the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171 standard. It is a standard that applied to anyone doing business with the Department of Defense or similar federal departments that are protecting or creating controlled unclassified information. It's not the super secret stuff, but still important enough for the government to demand that people control that information by a certain standard. And that's what the standard is all about. Today we're going to go over control number down here, 3.7.3. And that says, ensure equipment removed for off-site maintenance is sanitized of any CUI. CUI is anything provided by a federal contract or produced in service of a federal contract. So if you created the design, it's still CUI if you're selling it via a contract. Federal dollars go to create it, they own it, and you have to protect it. So that applies. So if you're taking a machine off-site to do maintenance, most often where that scenario comes in is if you've got an old machine that you want to dispose of. Typically, you will hire a disposal company because you've got regulations, federal regulations regarding the recycling of the material inside the computer itself, because I think that lead and solder joints and electronic components are all not particularly great for the environment. It's a disposal issue. But you need not only to care for that side of things, but you also need to make sure that the hard drive and the data on the hard drive is properly disposed of and tracked. You need something called data custody. You need somebody to sign a paper and an affidavit saying, yes, we have control of this machine now. Yes, we're going to follow these certain security standards and make sure that every step along the way is tracked and logged and maintained until such time as the hard drive itself has been destroyed and recorded as such, either physically or low-level format. We'll talk about that in a second. The idea is once you have this, you should be able to contact this company that did this for you and say, hey, this is the equipment, this is the serial number, can you pull up the chain of custody and history? They should maintain those records for you. And if you're having an outside company do this, I would call them on it and I would check up on them and 6 months later in the contract, see if they can pull up those records for you. If they can't, replace them immediately because that's something you need to be able to do, record that. But it's not just any old maintenance. If you take that off site, let's look down here, look at the exact wording here. This requirement addresses the information security aspects of system maintenance. So not necessarily just disposal. It could be a warranty issue. What if you have a bad monitor on a laptop and you ship it off? You have to make sure that that hard drive doesn't leave with it or that it's been wiped or something like that. So you probably want to just do exactly that, remove the hard drive. Now, if you're trying to have a warranty that involves the hard drive, you may have to format it, or you may have to have a contract with your vendor that accounts for being able to destroy the hard drive. Like they'll take your word for it to ship you a new hard drive. Some companies will do that. They'll let your own in-house people do some of the work, and they'll just send you the parts. Under the contract of warranty, it doesn't have to leave. So you don't want contracts where that leaves your house, it leaves your custody. Also, if you have fax machines or other Internet of Things, any kind of devices that might contain CUI. Fax machine or a copy or something that may have jobs cached that were print jobs related to a federal contract, you got to make sure that that information has been wiped and cleared. And you don't want that thing, you got, a printer company shows up to cycle out your printer per your contract and they take the old one away. You got to make sure that's been wiped and that they know how to do that. They're willing to do that and take responsibility, legal and liability responsibility for making sure that information has been wiped before it leaves your premises, or maintain a chain of custody and proof that it's following all the CUI standards, that kind of thing. So it's a lot to think about. Now, when I talked about earlier about wiping the hard drive, doing a low-level format, for those who don't know, you can delete a file and it can still be recoverable. Because what happens is, the way a hard drive works is you got this hard drive, a little sliver of it here is got basically a log, an inventory of where all the data is. And when you delete a file, normally you just go to that inventory and you just erase the line entry. The file's still sitting in the same spot. And the only time it gets deleted is if you go to store another file, you see there's a space in the log and you go to put the file there, and then it overwrites a chunk of the file or the whole file or whatever. Oftentimes just a chunk, so something may still be salvageable. So if you delete the file allocation table entry, you leave CUI behind. That's a violation. You have to make sure you do a low level, which basically goes through every single bit block on the entire hard drive and resets it to zeros, or it'll do a random pattern across it. The idea is it's completely unrecoverable. There have been some scenarios in certain storage mediums where there's concern about some kind of ghosting effect where they can tell if a bit has been set a certain way a long time, it leaves kind of a residue and it can be read. So sometimes they'll do, instead of writing zeros everywhere, they'll put a pattern across. I don't really think that's applicable in modern storage technology, but it's been brought up. I've heard people talk about it. A simple low-level format is usually sufficient to comply with this particular standard. So that's all it is. You just got to make sure that the data, even if you're doing maintenance or warranty work or whatever, or disposal or anything, you have to make sure that you keep an eye on where the CUI is and make sure it doesn't fall in the wrong hands during that kind of process. That is Control 3.7.3. And that's all I got for this time. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.